everyone. Today we're going to talk about teaching our dogs how to put their own harness on. It is super duper easy and fun to teach. It sounds a lot more difficult and complicated than it actually is. What it really boils down to is just starting to pair your harness with fun and happy times for your dog. Usually using cookies because that's just the easiest way to do it. So today we're going to use a Freedom harness. This is a Freedom harness. It's one of the ones that I really like. It's also one of the easier ones for teaching your dog to put it on themselves because all they need to do is learn to stick their head through this hole and you're good to go. Step-in harnesses where they have to put their feet in and then you clip it on are the hardest ones to teach this with, but it can be done. It's just a little more complicated. So over-the-head harnesses are kind of my favorite for this kind of thing. We're going to be using a Freedom harness and we're going to be using Finn. Now with the Freedom harness, it's got two hooks. I'm going to come closer so you can see. So it's got this one, which should always go on the back in between the shoulder blades, and then it's got this one which goes on the front on the chest. The nice thing about the Freedom harness is you can't get it twisted because there's only one of each type of connector on each side. So it can only go on one way. So put together, this is what it looks like. And the dog's head goes here, legs go here. All right, so we're gonna use Finn and we're gonna show you guys how to teach your dog to put it on themselves. You're gonna want your dog, some cookies, and your harness. And it's pretty easy to do. Now, Finn's a little nervous, so I'm gonna do this sitting down. Finn. Come on. So I've got a handful of food and I'm just gonna hold it through the hole of the harness and let him make his choice to come and stick his head through here if he wants to. And if he sticks his head through the hole, he just gets to eat all the cookies in my hand. And I only have 2 or 3 treats in my hand. Good. As he gets more comfortable, I'm going to move my hand a little further away from the harness. So I started with my hand completely inside the harness. Good. And I'm going to start moving my hand a little bit further away. Good job. So you can see there's a slight gap between my hand and the harness now, and he's making a conscious choice to stick his head through the harness to get the food. Good job, bud. Good boy. So if he goes around the harness, I'm going to close my hand. He does not get that food unless he sticks his head through the harness. And I'm going to readjust our setup. And we're going to try again. Good job. You can do it from a down position. Good job. And I'm going to take this at Finn's pace. He's a little nervous, so I'm not going to pressure him to come put his head through the harness. If he wants to come to it, the food is here. If he doesn't, that's okay. Nothing bad will happen. You just won't get the food. Apparently we like doing it for a down. Good job, Bob. Now the goal is to eventually fade the food and have your hand just be the target. So holding your hand without the food through the harness and looking for, yes, good boy, the same behavior. Them sticking their head through, targeting your hand, you mark and treat. And eventually, and this happens a little faster with the more confident dogs, but eventually you want them to just stick their head through all the way, yes, good boy, and get the harness on them pretty quickly. Yes, good boy. Great job. So the end goal behavior is you hold your harness up, you hold your hand up, your dog sticks their head all the way through, they get a cookie, and you clip the harness on. And then you go for a walk. Good job, Finn. Yay. You're a good boy. You're your best boy. What do you think? So that is how we teach our dogs to put their harness on by themselves. It's a fairly quick process. If you do this, practice it a few times every single time you put your dog's harness on, usually pretty quickly you're just holding the harness out and they are shoving their head through. All right, guys, well, have fun teaching your dogs to put their harness on and enjoy.